Welcome back class. So last time we learned about the armature reaction and we found that basically the actual induced voltage is basically the sum of the stator voltage, okay, due to the armature reaction, and the actual induced voltage, okay, that is the actual terminal voltage. And the net magnetic field is basically sum of the rotor and stator magnetic field, okay. That was learning of the last time, okay. Now basically if you look at the armature reaction diagram, so basically this stator is stator, it actually lies at an angle of 90 degree behind the IA, okay, stator current, okay, because we assume an inductive load. So basically there is an angle of 90 degree here. So because of this also we know that basically the stator voltage, it is proportional to the IA, right? And assuming an inductive load, okay, we can write this as minus jx times IA, okay, that the drop across this inductor will be minus jx times IA, okay. So it means if we write the total voltage, that is basically EA plus E set, so it will be EA minus jx times IA, okay. So that will be my actual terminal voltage, okay, or load voltage, okay. And if we draw the equivalent circuit, it will look like this one, okay, that this phase voltage is basically equal to the EA voltage minus the voltage drop here, okay, which is jx times IA or E sach, okay. So that will be actually our terminal or load voltage. But actually inside of the stator or armature we have the coil, okay. So that coil will have its own internal resistance and reactance, okay, which we call as the stator reactance or armature reactance and armature resistance, okay. So it means there will be some drop across them also, okay. So what is our original formula? EA minus this armature reaction drop, okay, times IA. So there will be some drop across this inductor reactance, okay, times IA, and there will be some drop across this resistance, okay. So that is the effect of the basically the stator self inductance and self resistance, okay. So that drop will also be subtracted, okay. Or in other words, what we can say that basically if we redraw our equivalent circuit, so basically this drop effect will also be included in that, okay. And here if we combine this reactance and this reactance, okay, so we can combine them because these are reactances, so we call them combined, okay, single reactance or synchronous reactance, okay. So that will simplify our formula to this one, okay. So EA minus combined reactance times the armature current minus the resistance drop, okay. So it will make, so that is actually the very important equation, okay, main equation. So if we draw our circuit, it will look like this one, that induced voltage minus the drop across the synchronous reactance, okay, and the drop across the armature or stator resistance, and here we will have the phase voltage, okay. So induced voltage minus the this drop, that will be our actual phase voltage. So that will be the circuit for one phase, okay. This is the important equation. And if we want to draw for the three phase system, okay, so we will get this similar circuit, same circuit, okay, for each phase, okay, like the first phase, second phase and third phase. And the rotor circuit is like this one. We supply the DC voltage, we have rotor field resistance and field reactance, and here we have an adjustable resistance which is basically used just to adjust the field current, okay. So like it's just a potentiometer, okay, so that we can adjust the incoming field current here, okay. So this is the basic equivalent circuit of the synchronous generator, okay. And we know that this three phase connection, it could be in delta or Y configuration, okay. And if you just want to tilt one phase system, so we can consider only this circuit. And usually we consider only one phase. Okay, because whatever response we are getting from single phase, the same will be for the other three phases. So instead of analyzing three phases together, we can analyze only single phase system. Okay, and the connection, okay, like we get three phases, EA1, EA2 and EA3. Okay, so this is basically the equivalent circuit, right, for the single phase. Okay, minus the drop across the synchronous reactance and the stator resistance, and here we are getting the single phase output. Okay, similarly the second phase and the three phase. So the output connection, it could be in Y configuration or in delta, right? So for example, if you talk about the Y configuration, then the terminal voltage or the load voltage, it is basically radical 3 times of the phase voltage. Okay, so whatever phase voltage you are getting here, multiply with radical 3, that will be your terminal voltage here. And the line current is basically the same as the phase current, okay, in the Y configuration. So these are the basics one for the Y. And delta 1, we know that basically the terminal voltage will be same as the phase voltage. Here the difference will be that your line current basically will be radical 3 times of the phase current. Okay, so these are very important relationships, okay, basic relationship for the Y and delta case. Okay, so this was about the equivalent circuit of the synchronous generator. Okay, now let's have a review at the phasor diagram. Okay, because phasor diagram is very important and tells us very useful information about the working and operation of the NEAC machine. So we know that the phasor voltage is the induced voltage minus the drop across reactance and the resistance. Okay, so we can also rewrite this as that the induced voltage is basically is equal to the phase voltage plus the drop across reactance plus the drop across the resistance. Okay, so I just rewrite this. Why? Because it will help me to easily understand the phasor diagram. Okay, now let's consider we have a resistive load. Okay, so to start the phasor diagram, what we have to do, we will draw the V phase, we will draw the IA. Okay, so because this is a so that will be our start. So if you have a resistive load, so V and I will be in phase. Okay, then I have this drop, resistive drop, so that resistive drop will be coming here. Okay, so that is basically IA times RA, right? Then we have reactance. Okay, so because of J, so we'll get 90 degree here, so that will be the drop X into IA, right? And this total sum, it will be my EA voltage. Okay, so that is this graph for the unity power factor for the resistive load. And if you talk about the lagging power factor, which is basically your inductive load, so okay, so in this case, so we will draw the V phase, and here will come the current, which will be lagging. Okay, and then the voltage drop across the resistance and the 90 degree voltage drop across the reactance, and that will be my EA voltage. Capacitive load, V phase, and the current will be leading. Okay, then resistive drop will be coming here, and this will be the reactance, and if we combine from head to last tail, okay, that will be my EA. Okay, so this is the phasor diagram for the three different cases. So now basically when the load changes, this phasor diagram could be changing. Okay, another thing you can notice here, for example, in this case your EA induced voltage is basically greater than phasor voltage, so that will also help us when we actually analyze the voltage regulation. Okay, for the lagging power factor, you can notice that basically EA is also greater than V phase, but here capacitive, your EA is basically less than the V phase voltage. Okay, so that is the basic relationship for the different cases. And now if we talk about, and here let's assume the one thing, if the reactance is 0, okay, for example for this case, let's say that the resistive drop is very small. Okay, so then this term will be gone. Okay, or this term will be gone, so this will be start from this end. Okay, so that will be the revised case if the resistive drop is very small. Okay, so just another version. And now if you talk about the power and torque, Okay, so we know that in the synchronous generator, basically input we have the mechanical power, okay, and that mechanical power is converted to the electrical power. Okay, so the input power we can write like this one, that the applied torque multiplied with the angular velocity of the main prime mover. Okay, and this power it will be converted to the electrical power. So the electrical power will be induced torque multiplied with the angular velocity. Okay, same concept which we learned in the last chapter. Okay, now basically the converted power will be for the three-phase system, it will be 3 times of the EA times IA times cosine of gamma, right, where gamma is the angle between E and IA. Okay, so that will be our formula here, converted power. Okay, now basically this is input power, you are getting the converted power, so there will be some losses here, okay, as we learned in last chapter. So those losses are basically mechanical, core and stray losses of the machine, which will be coming here. And then after that we will have the electrical losses, and that will be actual our total converted power, which will be coming here by the difference of this one. Okay, so if you write the total output power, okay, the real power, so it will be equal to, like if you talk about the in terms of the line currents, it will be radical 3 times of terminal voltage times IL into cosine of theta. And if we talk about the phase voltage, it will be 3 times of V phase into IA sine cosine of theta. So this is my real power. This is for the line and this is for the phase cases. Okay, and usually we use this one depending on the requirement. So this is a real power, and if you talk about the reactive power, then what will happen? Okay, so reactive power will be, this cosine will be changed to sine and it will become reactive power. This sine will be changed, cosine will be changed to sine and it will become reactive power. Okay, just simple. Okay, so here I want to emphasize one thing. Usually basically the reactance, the synchronous reactance is basically much greater than the armature resistance. So that's why basically the drop across the reactance will be much larger than the resistance. So we usually ignore the resistance. So if we ignore that, so basically our phase voltage will become induced voltage minus the only drop across the reactance. Okay, because we ignore the voltage drop across this one. Okay, now what we want to do, we just want to derive, okay, let's plot the phasor diagram for this case. Okay, what is the target for that? Target is we want to find this value, that what is IA cosine of theta. Okay, so let's see in that case. So basically if we ignored, then basically your EA is V phase plus JX into IA, okay, for the inductive load. Okay, so this is V phase, this is IA. So resistive load is ignored, then we will have only this drop JX times IA, and if we start from here and here, that will be my EA. So here is the angle between IA and EA, which is gamma. So let's assume the angle between EA and V phase is sigma. Okay, so if this is IA, then this complete, it will become EA times cosine of sigma, and this will become EA times sine of sigma, right? Basic one. And if this angle is theta, okay, and this is this drop, so it means this term, okay, it will be X like reactance times IA times cosine of theta, and this term will be XIS into IA sine of theta. Okay, so it means basically EA sine of sigma is equal to XS into cosine of theta, right? So this is the relationship, that EA sine of sigma is basically XS into IA cosine of theta, or IA cosine of theta will be equal to EA sine of sigma divided by the reactance. So this was your formula. So basically if you put this thing here, then the output power, it will become this one. Okay, so that is basically the actual output power. And this angle between EA and sigma, which is actually sigma, this is actually called as torque angle. Okay, so sigma is called torque angle. Okay, so this is the main formula how we are actually getting this one. Okay, and last thing is about the power flow diagram. So you know already very well about this thing, the torque of a synchronous generator. So we know that from the last chapter that the induced torque is basically dependent on the rotor magnetic field and the stator one. Okay, and because of the armature reaction we are getting the net magnetic field, so the relationship could be like this one. Okay, or we can express this as sine of sigma. Okay, where sigma is basically the torque angle. Okay, and we just derived one relationship that power out is basically what we just, like in the last slide, we defined that power out is basically 3 times of V phase Ia cosine of theta, and we derive the relationship for Ia cosine of theta, right? And you also know that basically the torque is basically power times of the angular velocity, right? Sorry, the power is basically torque times of the angular velocity, right? And now if you want to get torque value, so torque value will be power divided by the angular velocity. So this power V phase Ia sine of theta divided by the angular velocity, that will actually become our torque value. Okay, that will be our torque value for this case. Okay, so we can derive this one from this relationship, that the induced torque basically can be written as this whole term is the power divided by the angular velocity. Okay, so let me stop here and we will see the relevant example and the other things in the live session. Okay, thank you very much for your time.